Welcome back, everybody. This is the third and final video in our series on using Google Meet, and this is about pre-scheduling Google Meets, which is a pretty useful feature I find. I think the biggest benefit of it is that you can generate a link before the video chat starts that you can send out to people ahead of time so that you're not waiting until it begins right away and then you send it out and stuff like that. So right now I have on my screen the Google Meet window, but actually this is not where you go to pre-schedule a Google Meet. You actually are going to do it in Google Calendar. So if any of you use Google Calendar, this is a pretty cool feature that you have. So I'm going to open a new tab, go to Google Apps, go to Calendar, and then you'll see my screen. So this is my Google Calendar. It has all of my different things on it. Basically, just to schedule a Google Meet ahead of time, you just need to create an event in Google Calendar. So let's say if I wanted to do something at 3 p.m. today, I would just go and create a new event, and we'll just call it Google Meet Call for now. And then after this, I'm going to click where it says More Options. And then you'll see that you've got your start date and time, your end date and time, event details if you wanted to add a location for it. This is the thing that you want right here is add conferencing. So if I click where it says add conferencing, Hangouts Meet right there. So if I click on it, it's going to add conference details. So it gives you that right there. So that's your link, meet.google.com/that 10-digit code. And if you expand, then you'll also see the phone numbers and all that stuff. I'm not going to worry about the live stream part of it. But you've got that option there, and it's already created for you. Just like if when you go to create a new Google Meet, it gives you that link. Like if I press start or join a meeting, right, you'll see that it creates that information right on the spot. Excuse me, but in Google Calendar, you can actually create that ahead of time, which is pretty cool. Another thing that you can do too is if you have an existing ID that you want to use, instead, you can edit, and then you can change the ID to the ID of the one that you already have, which is pretty cool, I think. So, so for instance, when I'll hit save here, on my virtual office hours, now these are technically two different events, but once I created this one, I just copied the ID from here and put it in my afternoon event so that I wasn't having to send out two links for you to access those. You can just use the one and it works for both. So you've got that. The other thing with pre-scheduling a Google Meet is if you're doing something on a recurring basis, so like with my office hours, you'll see that I have one for each day, but I didn't make one for each day. I used a recurring event so that it had it automatically. So that also allows you to use a Google Meet ID or link across each one of those, which is really neat. So if I go back into this event where it says does not repeat, I can click in here and I have a bunch of different options. I can schedule it daily. I can schedule it every Monday or every fourth Monday or every year on this particular date, every weekday. You go to custom, and then you can say, is it repeat once a week, once a day, once a month, once a year? If you do once a week, which days of the week does it do? So in this case, I can do that, or like I said, I have that option for every weekday. But I like creating a custom occurrence just because this allows you to set an end date or an end period for when it no longer recurs. So if I say, that right now it says never, but I could say, I want this to end on April 24th, then it's going to repeat every single day of the week until April 24th, and then it's going to stop repeating. Or if I wanted to say, I want this to happen specifically 5 times, I could say after 5 occurrences, and either way, it'll work. So if I say, let me go back to on, and I'll say end on the 24th and hit done. and hit save. So now you'll see that the calendar has changed, and now you'll see that it's on every single day. And if I go through the weeks, and then all of a sudden we get here, now it's disappeared. So, so the recurring part of it is a pretty neat feature. Obviously, I'm not going to use this event, so I'll do it later. But you'll notice that the link is consistent throughout. It's the same code for each one. So you're not having to create a different code for each one and having to send a different link out each day. So another nice feature of pre-scheduling a Google Meet is the ability to add attachments. So if I go back into my event right here and click edit, so you see there's my Google Meet right there. Now this bottom part here, you can add a description, you can add text. So anytime you schedule anything in Google Calendar, you can send that information along. But the ability to add an attachment becomes really useful in Google Meet. So I have this document called agenda for this Google Meet event that I'm going to do and whatever. So so I want to add that into my attachments that I'm going to have in the Meet itself. So that way, when if this was a meeting or something, then when people come in, the document's right there. They don't have to go digging through their emails or through Google Drive to find it. It's right there for them to see. So in Google Calendar, I'm going to click this paperclip to add attachment. And then it brings you to your Google Drive. So your recent files, or I can go to my drive, and there's my agenda right there. So if I select it, now you'll see that it's in the calendar itself, in the calendar event. And then when I hit save, now it is a part of, it's right there. When you click on it in Google Calendar, there's a link to the agenda right there if you go access it via calendar. But now also when I go to Google Meet and I pull this event up right here and I join it and do all that fancy stuff and close this out again. So now that I'm in the call, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, it says Google Meet, which anytime you pre-schedule a Google Meet, you'll see the name of it down in that corner. And it's just the name of whatever you called it in your Google Calendar. That's the name of the event in Google Meet. So now when I click on this, and you'll see there's the details, whatever, there's the joining information, the call. But now in this section here where it says attachments, I can click on that. And there's the agenda right there. And I click on it. And now I have it open on my computer. So again, just an easier way to share things so that people aren't having to dig through to find files if they're pertinent to whatever the call it is you're doing. So that's another really, really cool feature to pre-scheduling, is the ability to add attachments like documents or pictures or whatever it is you need to share with your audience. So that's the deal with pre-scheduling Google Meets, and this is the last video that I'm going to do in this series for now. So again, if you have any questions, definitely email me. I'll be doing my staff virtual office hours through the entirety of this COVID-19 break. And best of luck with everything, and let me know if I can help.